So, from the last video, the last thing we need to do is we need to fasten this block to. I have these two screws, and I could do like a threaded insert or something. But one of the building techniques I've learned from the Prusa 3D printers is the use of what's called a square nut. So a square nut is, well, a square, and it's a nut. So I take there, and this can thread in. In the 3D printer, what they'll do is they'll embed this into a slot that intersects with the path of the screw. So you push this in, and then you can thread the screw in and pull the whole thing together. Unfortunately, unlike the screw where I could use the pre-built model, I'm going to have to make my own threaded square nut. So I'm going to make a new, I'm going to go hide this and make a new part studio. And we're going to go F11 to show everything about this. And let's build ourselves a square nut. I'm going to start on the front. Look at my front. I can do this real quick with just a simple rectangle and a circle. And then let's start measuring some stuff. The overall size is 0.214 by 0.214. Good, it's a square, so I'm going to use the equals constraint with the E key. And then we're going to start dimensioning. So 0.214. And then the hole in the center is going to be 0.1 even. Now Shift E for extrude. Tilt it, and the thickness of my square nut is 0.067. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to make it gray. And I'm going to rename this part studio. Square nut. And rename the part. Square nut. Now let's go to my assembly. And we're going to edit this piece in context. So I'm going to right click, edit in context, context 1. So now I can see my piece. I can see the screws. So I'm going to start a sketch on the side of here. I'm going to look at the side. I'm going to turn on construction mode. And I want to show I think edit in context is actually hurting me. So I'm going to go directly to the spacer. And then we're going to go into the sketch. And then I'm going to project geometry. Construction mode. There we go. So there's the hole that my thing goes through. I'm now going to draw a construction mode. Okay. I'm going to pull this dimension just to see what it was. 0.161. I'm going to dimension from here to here to be 0.161 divided by 2. We need to say this is going to be, we have about 12 millimeters. So I'm going to go 6 mm. Let's go 4 mm, so we have a good amount of material. And then I need to make this bigger than the square nut. So the square nut was 0.214 in thickness. So we're going to make this 0.214 plus point, oh, no. So the thickness was 0.067. 0.067 plus 0.01. And now we're going to take and dimension the width. 0.214 plus 0.01. And then we're going to extrude this. And now here's the hard part. We know if I take the measurement tool from here to here is 0.107. So we're going to go just past 0.107 past the hole. Because we want to make it so that when we put the square nut in, it falls in line with the hole pretty easily. So I'm going to measure from here to here. So 0.249 plus 0.107, I believe. So 249 plus 147. So extrude, remove 0.247 plus 0.107 plus 0.005. And that looks good. We'll double check that in one moment by putting our nut in. So we're going to mirror this feature. This extrusion. Mirror plane is going to be there. Okay, so let's go back to our assembly. And let's put in our square nut. Okay, so now let's do a fasten. Okay, that spot and that. We need to switch direction. Check. Put it all back together. All right, let's reassemble that because things unhook themselves. So we will refasten that spot to that looks better. I'm going to turn this guy's visibility off by clicking a little eyeglass. And that looks good. I can see the square nut through there. We're probably good. I can turn this guy back on. I can insert my last square nut. Flip the direction. Yep, there you go. That looks good. So really the only thing now is to print it and see how they fit, because I won't know until I actually print it, because there's a lot of tolerances, a lot of spacing. So let's take, and I'm going to grab my spacer. I'm going to right click. I'm going to export. I'm going to hit F11. And we're opening up Prusa Slicer, and let's take a look at how we're going to orient this to print it. I'm going to switch it to the single printer. I'm going to hit the add object. I'm going to go to downloads. And that's a really bad orientation. Let's try putting it on its side. So it looks like we'll need some support from there. The square nut, I can bridge over that without a problem. I should be able to do the inside of that without too much problem. All right. I don't want supports everywhere, but I do want to print support that one spot. So I'm going to take and use a new feature in Prusa Slicer called Paint on Supports. So I'm going to select the object. I'm going to click here. I'm going to rotate here, and I'm just going to draw that blue. Oh. Shift. Move all that. Let's go to our slice view. And let's change supports for enforcers only. So now I have supports just in that one little lip. I don't need it for the square nut holes. I don't need it for the screw holes. I don't need it for anything else. 1 hour exactly. I'm going to print it, and we'll come back and see how that looks.